Welcome to the Solid Verbal. The Solid Verbal.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
I've heard so many players say, well, I want to be happy. You want to be happy for a day? Eat a steak.
It's that woo-woo!
And now, Dan and Ty.
Welcome back to the Solid Verbal, boys and girls. My name is Ty Hildenbrandt. Joining me, as always, my good friend over there in snowy New York City, Dan Rubenstein. Sir, how are you?
We're about 36 hours post Heisman Trophy, and my innards, my insides, because I don't drink a lot and I drank a lot. It's a struggle bus in there, Ty. It is a struggle bus.
2-Drink Dan was on full display on Friday evening.
It turned into 4.5, 4.8 drink Dan.
Okay.
You're pushing yourself when you get to that point if you're my body.
Well, it was good to see you. It was good to see everybody at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. We posted a couple pictures of us with the esteemed Adam Amin, who was in attendance. It was good to see him. Fine gentleman. Good to catch up and talk about his year and, what lies ahead for him. So that was fun. A lot of other notable personalities.
It was a great Heisman crowd.
Thank you, as always, for the invite to be part of the festivities.
Of course, and congratulations to Brock Riggs, of Heidelberg University in Tiffin, Ohio.
Boom.
Walking away with the hardware, the most important piece of hardware in the college football postseason.
A lot of fun. So we've got a lot to discuss here, not the least of which is the update on our shirt giveaway contest, which many people have been emailing in. What is the status of that? We'll talk about it.
No more submissions, by the way. We have way too many.
We'll also talk about the status of the live show and how ticket sales are going and what our plan is moving forward for that. So without further ado, Daniel, we have breaking news.
Boop.
There was a football game yesterday. It was Army-Navy. It was in the snow. So, full disclosure, the Solid Wife and I came up to New York with every intention of at least considering whether we wanted to stay in the city on Saturday throughout the day and go see a show or do something. It's Christmas in New York. That's what people do, right?
Absolutely.
We thought about it. What we didn't realize when we drove up on Friday afternoon was that there was snow in the forecast for yesterday. Like out of nowhere, 2 to 5 inches was expected in the greater New York, eastern PA area. And we called an audible, decided to drive home bright and early on Saturday morning. So we got home before the bulk of the snow hit. I'm glad we did. If you watched the Army-Navy game, you saw a little bit of that. It was snowing pretty hard in our neck of the woods here, which made for a really cool backdrop for a historic game between Army and Navy. Army won 14-13 as Navy misses a 48-yard field goal in the snow.
That's rough.
The kid had the leg, just went a little bit wide left. 14-13, Army wins again.
Yes, a combined, if I have this correct, 3 passes.
3 passes for 22 yards. It was like a Florida game.
It was a Florida game. Navy, unfortunately, Malcolm Perry, 250 some odd yards in a losing effort, but good for Army for holding on and good for Army for a camouflage system on the field. That was fun to watch. No, it was a cool game to watch, and obviously a unique moment and unique matchup in college football. Always about the coolest thing to see.
A grand total of 3 passes for 22 yards, but 95 collective rushing attempts in this game, which is not unexpected.
And the first, I think, winning streak for the Cadets since 92 to 96.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
Long time coming.
All right, Baker Mayfield, to the surprise of nobody, wins the Heisman Trophy. It was the 3rd time for him that he had been a Heisman Trophy finalist. He received 732 first-place votes, which I believe, if my math is correct, that would make him the 5th most all-time behind Charlie Ward and Cam Newton. So certainly a great year for Baker. He wins the Heisman Trophy. Also of note, it is the 5th time since 2009 that a Stanford player has finished as a runner-up in the Heisman Trophy. That would, of course, be Bryce Love.
Baker Mayfield did not have a bad game. Baker Mayfield he dominated the quarterback landscape, I would say, in a way that is not seen in modern college football. He was so far and away the best quarterback in the sport that it sort of became a no-brainer. And I know a lot of people have very strong and important opinions about Baker Mayfield's behavior, perhaps after games, during games, on the sideline, whatever. But he was such an incredibly special talent that it's a shame we won't get to see more of him, because he was not really of this college football universe this year. We talked about him sort of being in between college and the NFL, just in terms of the talent and confidence that he played with, starting out with the big Ohio State one, even going back to the win against Auburn in bowl season last year. But yes, this was among the biggest recent no-brainers of a Heisman vote. Any issue with the vote at all? Did you see the top 10? Any sort of things that stood out?
I'm looking at it now. No.
Yeah.
No, not in particular. The Roquan Smith, I guess, addition down at number 10 caught me off guard. Roquan Smith is very good, but once you get outside the top 3, it sort of turns into this mishmash of players that maybe you wouldn't expect, some that you would. So I don't have any hot takes as far as that goes.
Yeah, if it were a much closer vote and you start seeing 4 first-place votes for Mackenzie Milton, 3 for Roquan Smith, who best player on arguably the best defense in the SEC, there's something understandable about that. If you want to vote for the best pure player that you see, I don't know how you can say Roquan Smith is better at playing linebacker than Baker Mayfield is at quarterback. But no, this was extremely easy, and yeah, poor Stanford, always coming second place.
Baker Mayfield, Bryce Love, Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, and Rashad Penny round out your top 5. And then Jonathan Taylor, tailback at 6, which is awesome. Incredible. For a freshman, by the way.
Yes.
Mason Rudolph, Mackenzie Milton from UCF, Kerryon Johnson, and Roquan Smith rounding out the top 10. So congratulations to Baker Mayfield. By all accounts, he's got a bright future waiting for him in the NFL. A lot of teams are excited about him. So we'll see how he performs at the next level. We also mentioned briefly at the top about Brock Riggs getting the Heisman Trophy. But woke up Heidelberg, a small college 55 miles southeast of Toledo in the northern part of Ohio. He was, I thought, a little bit emotional about winning the award. He had some family in town, some friends in town. He noted in his acceptance speech it was his first time in New York City, which is really cool. And definitely got a little choked up. Held it together, but you were on stage with him. Did you hear the voice crackle? I could hear it.
Yeah, a little bit. And he brought his girlfriend and offensive line coach / coordinator with him. His brothers showed up at the awards ceremony. And I don't know if you saw this, but there was a watch party at Heidelberg.
Yes, it was awesome.
And friends and stuff like that. And as soon as our pal Ryan Nanny announced that he won, there was like that cool explosion thing, like you see when a team gets into the NCAA tournament or something. You see that shot a lot, and that was awesome to see. That was so cool.
Mario Cristobal has officially been named the next head football coach at Oregon. We had speculated when we did our Willie Taggart Emergipod last week that Cristobal might be the selection. Jeff Schwartz on our program seemed to advocate for him. The locker room seemed to advocate for him as well. Mario Cristobal is a guy who has head coaching experience. It didn't work out so well at the end of his tenure at FIU, but since then he's had ample opportunity to learn and grow as a football coach. He did some time at Alabama, obviously had a successful stint, a short stint as an assistant at Oregon. Now he's been named the head guy. Dan, how do you feel?
Well, first of all, it is karma for always making fun of words that we pronounce differently that Oregon has now hired a Mario. That's rough for me that I'm going to have to hear a difference in first name opinion.
That's right.
On this show whenever we talk about him. But as for the hire itself, I think I like it. It's not overwhelming, and I don't think you're ever going to get an overwhelming hire short of, loving Chip Kelly as an offensive coordinator and promoting him within like they did in 2009. And it's hard to really justify feeling great when you're Oregon and you're far away from the sort of masses, and you're always going to get your definite first choice. And given the circumstances, I think it's good. I think the continuity should be pretty good. I think he's going to hold on to a few assistants who I think acquitted themselves pretty nicely. I can't imagine Jim Leavitt is going to be long for Eugene after the Las Vegas Bowl. I imagine he's disappointed, and he gets to go to Florida State and coach with Willie Taggart. An easier job, I would say, in terms of recruiting and the talent that will be on hand and the opponents in the ACC. So I think it's good. I think the players seem to love him. He appears to be well liked in the administration. It looks to be a steadying force. I think he should be able to hire well assistant wise. And so it all seems to be clicking. We have to see if he is actually able to lead teams in and out of wins, struggled with a backup quarterback at times or the whole time during the season offensively. But I have faith, given that Justin Herbert looks to be a top 3 or 4 quarterback returning for next year, that at least in the short term, and he has, I think, like a $10 million buyout, so he doesn't take off in quick succession, that Oregon will be in good shape. They're stocked pretty nicely if they can hold on to the roster, if they can sort of take this. I think Willie Taggart had them at like number 5 or 6 recruiting class and keep them in like the top 15, something like that, with the early signing period and then the standard one. I think it will be a short-term, very good hire.
You're feeling pretty good about this then.
I'm encouraged. Okay. I'm not blown away, but I'm encouraged. And that's about as much as you can hope for, given a coach bailing after 1 year.
Also in the coaching world, Barry Odom, Missouri's coach, got a 2-year extension. I think it's notable, if only because it was a rocky start to the season for Missouri. And then Barry Odom gave that impassioned speech, right? He talked about how he's the guy to turn this program around, to build it back from the ground up. And Missouri went on a bit of a run at the end of the year. They finished, I thought, in impressive fashion. The offense really did spring up around Drew Lock in an impressive way. And Missouri is headed to a bowl game. They have rewarded him with a 2-year extension. So it looks like Barry Odom's going to be sticking around Columbia for at least 2 more seasons.
Yep, will be interesting to see who he replaces Josh Heupel with as offensive coordinator, considering the success that Drew Lock had. And I know some people will point to the fact that, well, Missouri beat up on a bunch of teams who were down and the defenses weren't great, or they're going through coaching changes. Ty, I think you would agree. Pretty good teams beat up on teams that are not super good.
Yep.
So I am totally happy, if I'm a Missouri fan, with how the second half of the year wound up after sort of looking embarrassing, against Purdue early on, South Carolina, whatever. Good for Mizzou. We'll be curious to see how this momentum goes into next year.
The only other tidbits that I have here before we talk about our shirt contest on our live show, there was some news on the administrative front yesterday. Chris Del Conte, formerly the athletic director at TCU, has been hired for the same position over at Texas. Chris Del Conte, sort of known in this world, one of the superstar ADs out there. So it was notable, at least for a lot of the folks that cover college football, to see him embarking on a new challenge now, leaving TCU and headed down to Austin.
Yeah, never forget Chris Del Conte's transition, his help to get TCU to the Big East, which I think still reverberates to this day. Now TCU, of course, joined the Big East for a hot second before joining the Big 12. That transition obviously went very well, helped to oversee a football program that kept growing and growing under Gary Patterson, managed to hold on to Gary Patterson, even though there's been, I think, a bunch of interest in him throughout the years at different places. And now, to me, that's the thing that I'm curious about, because Gary Patterson just signs an extension. The AD leaves for Texas, which you can hardly blame somebody for taking a jump in job like that. But now I'm legitimately curious to see what TCU looks like moving forward with some changes on top. But hey, big move. Texas should be in pretty good hands.
Big move. Yeah, Texas has sort of been in a state of administrative limbo ever since they got rid of Steve Patterson, that whole debacle a couple years ago. They had an interim guy, Mike Perrin, for a few years, and the intention was always to replace him with someone on a more permanent basis. Now they're bringing over Del Conte. So we'll see how that affects the state of the Longhorns program as well. Okay, on solid verbal news front, Dan, 2 bullet points. First and foremost, the live show tickets very quickly sold out, at least the allotment.
The first wave.
Yeah, the first wave, if you will, of tickets that I put out there for people who live in Atlanta, know they'll be in Atlanta on January 6th. That allotment went very quickly. Within a day, it all sold out, to the point where I started pulling over some of the tickets that I had put aside for people who might be coming into town, for media friends, so on and so forth. I pulled more tickets over. We sold out of those as well. So,
damn.
Suffice to say, ticket sales have been quite strong. I would again urge people, if you are a fan of one of the 4 teams that are going to be in this playoff at the end of the year, I guess at the start of next year, and if you think you might be coming into town if your team makes it on through to the championship, reach out, let us know so that we can put some tickets aside. We're just trying to get a rough head count for how many people that might be. Some folks have emailed already. We would encourage you, if you are on the fence, if you don't know, just let us know, because if you are in town, we'd certainly love to have you at the live show. Otherwise, we're going to open some of those tickets back up to the general public, because there does seem to be a lot of interest. Dan and I have yet to figure out exactly what we're going to do at this live show.
Here's what we know.
But that is something I think you and I are pretty good at. We'll figure that out. In the meantime, though, tickets are doing really, really well. We're excited to do the show on January 6th. So just reach out and let us know your status.
It will be some sort of funeral and or preview, funeral for the season, preview for the national championship game. There will be some sort of Q&A quotient.
When you say funeral, that puts a very dark spin on it, Dan.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's college football, and sometimes you got to put a dark spin.
There will be a certain flavor of darkness to it.
Yes, there will be some darkness. We have pals, of course, that the full cast guys are in Atlanta, and we hope to have a quotient of that. We're going to try to get Bill C. and Stephen Godfrey from. I learned you're not supposed to call it Papin, Ty. It's PAPN. No? Yeah, I don't know. In my head, I always said Papin, but podcast ain't played nobody. We hope that they're going to swing by if they're in town. Talk to Andy Staples, Bruce Feldman. We're going to, Adam Amin. Like we're going to have people there, Ty. If you don't like us, that's cool. We have other college football weirdos that we think are going to pass through. And can I be shameless for a moment?
Absolutely.
We got a couple of emails and tweets saying, "Hey, I work at a brewery. Like, could we bring a keg? Can we bring cases of beer?" Like, yes. If you work or are somehow connected to a local Atlanta brewery and have cans, because we do need to keep the space very clean, but if you have cans or bottles or something like that and you would like to donate it to the cause in a safe, responsible way, we are happy to shout out that brand name on the show and talk about how delicious your local beer is.
Solidverbal@gmail.com. Hit us up, and I think it's something we can easily work out. We'd be
same goes for snacks. Same goes for snacks.
Yeah.
If you're connected, if you work, if somebody wants to donate some snacks to the cause, maybe some tots, maybe some nachos, whatever, we would be happy, Ty, more than thrilled to be like, hey, go get your tots at Steve's Tot Emporium. Absolutely.
So what we're saying here is right now we've secured the venue. We've got people coming to the venue. But much like the Fast and Furious movies, Dan and I still need to gather in a dilapidated warehouse and assemble the full cast of characters that are going to take part in this endeavor. But it will be fun. We appreciate everyone who's already reached out to us. And I think it's going to be a full house. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. So looking forward to seeing everybody down in Atlanta.
The only other news tidbit on the Solid Verbal front, before we get through 8 bowl games that we need to discuss in fine detail here, we did a shirt contest.
Oh, yeah.
A couple weeks ago. We've gotten emails from people, tweets from people asking, did I win? Can you tell? Did I win? I want a shirt. Here's the deal. Submissions have officially been halted. No more submissions because we've got more than we can get through anyway.
Oh, yeah.
We are in the process of going through and reading those out. We want to give each one its proper due. Dan and I need to discuss our favorites, but we are still working our way through that. We will give shirts out, we promise.
Yeah. In the next week or so, we'll make decisions and alert the winners. Real quick, before we get into the bowl games, can I go through the awards? We make a big deal of putting a lot of our friends on the watch list.
Yes,
so we
please.
Should give some closure. Real quick, about Baker Mayfield and the Heisman and Brock Riggs and Heisman, but Minka Fitzpatrick took home the Bednarik for the best defensive player. James Washington, the best receiver. Junkyard Jim. No-brainer, Ty.
Nope.
No-brainer. And had some good competition. The Broyles Award for the best assistant goes to Tony Elliott for Clemson, and co-OC, we saw the Clemson offense really look very good with a first-year starter and Kelly Bryant. Roquan Smith, we mentioned, as the best linebacker, and so he wins the Butkus. Davey O'Brien, Baker Mayfield, best quarterback. Doak Walker, Bryce Love, best running back. The Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award to Scott Frost. I think that's a pretty suitable recipient. The Lou Groza for the best kicker goes to Matt Gay. You'll be shocked to learn he kicks for Utah because that's who wins kicking awards. Mark Andrews from Oklahoma rightfully wins best tight end. Pretty good year with Fumagalli and Gesicki also finalists. The best all-around player goes to Baker Mayfield. The Nagurski, that was the Maxwell. The Nagurski goes to Bradley Chubb, who set all sorts of records for NC State. Ed Oliver wins the Outland for best interior lineman, which wish he were in bigger games this year for Houston, but such is life. Saquon Barkley wins the Hornig for versatility. The Piesman, of course, we mentioned. Michael Dixon wins the Ray Guy for Texas. Billy Price wins the Remington. Minka Fitzpatrick the Thorpe. Baker Mayfield, Walter Camp. And the William V. Campbell goes to Micah Kaiser of Virginia, and that incorporates academics and service. So that's pretty great.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to everyone that won an award. Congratulations to all the finalists as well. Very
Indeed.
exciting. Okay. Before we go any further, we did talk about shirts before. We should talk about why you want to go through Proper Cloth to get your next dress shirt. Now, I did not see you in a Proper Cloth shirt while you were presenting at the Piesman Awards ceremony. However, I do know you have a wedding coming up. Will you be wearing the Proper Cloth shirt to one of your best friend's wedding this coming weekend?
Yes, it is black tie optional. I'm not wearing a tux, but I will be wearing that white, beautiful Proper Cloth shirt that fits my slender body just so, Ty. Yes.
Proper Cloth is one of our longtime friends here on The Verbal. They know that finding a dress shirt can be difficult because something's always off. It's not easy to get something off the rack that gives you the nice fit that you want. They've made ordering a custom fit shirt easier than ever before. Go to propercloth.com and you can create a custom shirt size in just seconds by answering 10 simple questions. You can fully customize this thing any way you want it. A bunch of collar styles, like 10 cuff styles, 500 fabric styles. I can't even say it. That's how many there are. From classic to business, completely customize your shirt and get the exact style that you want. They work with all the best fabric producers from around the world. Each shirt goes through extensive quality control testing. And if they send you something that doesn't fit perfectly the way you want it, they'll remake it for free. So give it a shot. They say they're the future of shirts. I think that's a pretty good tagline. I think what's most important is that each of these shirts is completely custom for you. And it all starts at just $80. So stop wearing shirts that don't fit. Look your best with a custom fitted shirt. Go to propercloth.com/solid today. Need that /solid at the end. And then you enter the gift code SOLID and you'll save $20 on your first shirt. So it's a good deal. It's a good product. It's worn by Dan Rubenstein. What more do you need?
Hell yeah.
Propercloth.com/solid. Save $20 on your first shirt.
Do it.
Daniel.
Yo.
Dan, time, help. I need picks of the week.
So that sound may be a little bit misleading. What we do year in and year out around these parts is we go through all of the bowl games. In this case, there are 41 of them that we need to discuss. We don't do them all at once because we'd be here all day previewing games. And quite honestly, I've only looked at the first 8. But what we do is we go in chronological order. In the case of today's show, we're going to take you up till December 20th.
Okay.
And the DXL Frisco Bowl.
Frisco.
Big one between Louisiana Tech and SMU. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about all the other games that precede it. We do have a bowl confidence pool, which you can find linked up on our Facebook page, on our Twitter account. We've also got it out on the webpage at solidverbal.com. You should go and sign up now, compete for fabulous prizes. Initially, we thought about giving away 10 Bitcoins, but now it's a little steep. So maybe we'll give out a shirt or something like that. But the way it works is you don't have to pick against the spread. We'll talk about the spread here as we go through each of these games, but you pick the winner. Quite simply, you pick the winner, and then you rank how confident you are on a scale of 1 to 41. 41 being the most confident, 1 being the least confident. Now, I've got a formula for this. And I talked about it on last year's show. It is not my formula. I've adjusted it over the years, but this originally comes from our friend East Coast Elliot, who used to listen to the show. Now he's got a bunch of kids, and I don't think he's got the time to do so.
Oh, gotcha. Happens.
But Elliot was adamant about reversing the order of confidence. So, for example, if you go to our bowl confidence pool, the way that ESPN has pre-ranked it for you, it starts with the Celebration Bowl on December 16th between North Carolina A&T and Grambling, a fun game. It starts by putting that as number one, which means if you get the game right, if you pick the winner, you only get 1 point. Elliot's idea was that you should flip that. And instead of wagering only 1 point on a game that a lot of folks don't pay as close of attention to, you should put 41 points on that. And for that matter, you should put the most points, you should front load it on a lot of the games that people may not pay as much attention to, because typically that's where you see bigger mismatches. So I've been trying it for a couple years now, and I'm not going to say that I've won all the pools I've been in, but generally speaking, you finish in the top quadrant. Usually end up doing pretty well. So my only new wrinkle in relation to that formula is that this year, if you lost your coach, I'm putting fewer points on you. Even if I think you'll win, like Oregon's a really good example. You lost your coach, but I still feel pretty confident that they're going to win. I'm just not going to wager as many points on you as I might normally.
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot more wild cards with interim guys. Yeah.
And in the case of SMU, I'm probably going to go Louisiana Tech because, Chad Morris.
Not a big believer in Jeff Traylor.
That's right. I feel a little bit better about Mario Cristobal than I do Jeff Traylor, but
okay.
Let's start with the Celebration Bowl. They play it in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Did you say Mercedes like Mercedes Lewis? Because if you did, God bless, Ty.
I meant Mercedes. Excuse me.
No, I like that.
The word police are out in full force here. This one is December 16th at high noon on ABC. It is between the champions of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference at 11-0, North Carolina A&T, and the champions of the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
SWAC.
Yeah, the SWAC, the Grambling team that comes in at 11-1. For the record, the point spread here is 9.5 in favor of North Carolina A&T. I love watching this game every year, Dan. There's a lot of tradition here. It's a lot of fun. Normally, I go Grambling, but I'm going to admit here that I don't know a whole lot about either team. And the fact that the odds makers favor so heavily North Carolina A&T has definitely swayed me. So if I were a betting man, I'd go Grambling plus the points. But because Vegas seems to be strongly in favor of North Carolina A&T, I'm going to go North Carolina A&T for 36 confidence points.
Yeah, I'm going to go with NCAT as well, Ty. I'm going NCAT. And before we started recording, full disclosure, you and I were talking about all the shifts that North Carolina A&T employs on both sides of the ball.
Sure, right.
You were talking about the effects that had on a lot of defenses that they've faced. So because you seemed so confident before we hit record, I'm going to go with North Carolina A&T.
The shifting is reminiscent of the Washington Redskins back in the Tecmo Super Bowl days.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
Let's go North Carolina A&T. We agree here unanimously on the podcast.
Yes.
Then, as we get into some FBS schools, we start, as we often do, on December 18th, 1 p.m. It's on ESPN. Do they still do Capital One Bowl Week? Is it still a Capital One thing?
I don't know if this counts as Bowl Week. I think this is a little bit before Bowl Week.
The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. This one's in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. It is between Troy at 10-2. It's a team, not a person. They are a 6.5 point favorite over the North Texas Mean Green, Dan. What kind of gift situation are we looking at here?
In front of me, it says gift suite and fossil watch. So unclear what's in the gift suite.
Right.
You know what I'm thinking? I have not looked at this at all. I promise you. I swear upon tacos. Do you think this is going to be a heavier Bluetooth year? It feels like we're going that way because we don't have headphone connectors, right? In newer iPhones and Android devices.
Like a lot of Beats wireless earbuds, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I'm sensing that's going to be the case. AirPods, whatever. And listen, those things might be in the gift suite across, a lot of these bowls have gift suites. So I'm going to go ahead and guess heavy Bluetooth portion of the gift
heavy
suite.
Bluetooth. I could see Echo Dots. I could see any of the voice activated technology.
God, hate that stuff.
What's the Google thing called? The mini Google
Home?
Express. They have a name for the mini home. It's like Google Express or something like that.
Yeah. The Google, we are definitely spying on you and collecting data. Yes.
Right, exactly. Just says gift suite and a Fossil watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Troy beat LSU this year.
They did.
That has to count for something in this game, right?
Sure. Yeah, they have a good coach who has been rumored to be taking jobs perhaps in that region, Neil Brown. They run the ball well. They stop the run really well. They are unbelievably efficient as for scoring points when they get into the red and green zone, so within the 20 and 40. I think they were like number 1 in the country, something crazy. So Troy does a lot of things really well, and that helped them to have a huge win over LSU.
They're number 1 in the country, I believe, at stopping you.
Okay. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, their defense is unbelievable in stopping. Yeah.
Number
correct.
1 in the nation when your team gets inside the 40 on them. They don't let you finish drives. North Texas is interesting, though. It's an interesting matchup because the Mean Green doesn't play a whole lot of defense, but they are really good on offense, led by Seth Luttrell, another hot name in the coaching world.
I think so.
They're extremely young on offense. Watch out for them next season. But you bring up a really good point about Troy. They're very efficient. They're very defensive-minded. They won't blow you away with their offense, but they're good enough to get it done. They're good enough to keep you out of the end zone. I'm going Troy here to the tune of 40 points, Dan.
I'm going to go Troy as well. I'm thinking more in the 30 region.
Okay.
But yeah, North Texas has had a very nice year. A great comeback story. Mason Fine, a smaller quarterback. I don't think he's 6 feet tall. A little mistake prone, but a great year. Spreads the ball around pretty evenly. Love the steps that they've taken. But yeah, going with Troy.
The Auto Nation Cure Bowl. Cure Bowl, Dan.
Cure Bowl. Oh, okay.
Camping World Stadium in Orlando, December 18th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS Sports Network. Mm-hmm. We've got a matchup here between Georgia State at 6-5. They're a 5.5 point favorite over the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky at 6-6. What's our all-important gift situation for this game, Daniel?
So we've got a watch. It's unclear who makes the watch, but that's cool.
Okay, a timepiece of some sort.
Yeah, you got a backpack. Always useful, If nothing else, you can put your audio equipment in there when you travel to podcast on the road.
Sure, right.
Warm-up suit, pants, and jacket. All right, fair. Goodbye.
No, it says warm-up suit, pants, and jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Suit pants.
I think that's unfortunate wording.
Okay, warm-up suit, pants, and jacket.
Yeah, a dry fit shirt, long sleeve shirt. Okay, that seems redundant, but okay. That seems useful. Good for training. And a hat. Unclear if it's a top hat. Unclear if it's a newsboy hat. Unclear if it's a beanie. But there is a hat.
Maybe it's a choice of hat styles.
Games in Orlando, so not a lot of travel for Western Kentucky or Georgia State.
Right. That's an okay gift situation.
Utilitarian.
Both teams here limped to the finish. Georgia State lost their last 2. Western Kentucky lost 4 of their last 5. I am swayed a little bit by the fact that, I love the Western Kentucky mascot, the old Hilltopper, my favorite in college football. Western Kentucky's been pretty good the last couple seasons, even though they did limp to the finish here. And let's be honest, I got to put 39 points of confidence behind my boy, future Notre Dame coach Mike Sanford Jr. at Western Kentucky.
Future Notre Dame coach?
Potentially.
Interesting. Okay. Western Kentucky, an okay offense because Mike White was back. Below average defense. It was an ugly loss to FIU at the end of the year. Butch Davis. They don't, according to the SP Plus, don't have a top 70 win on the year, which is not anything I love to see. Georgia State, an above average defense, pretty good versus the run, but they themselves also no real good wins. Can't themselves run. but an efficient passing team at times. Wide receiver Penny Hart, he's 5'8". He's awesome. He had a really good game at Oregon a couple of years ago, actually, I remember.
Right.
And also, he sounds like a porn star.
Yeah, true.
Penny Hart. So there's that. I think I'm going to go Georgia State here. I'm going to go Georgia State.
I'm going to go Western Kentucky.
Okay.
I'm going to go against the Panthers. Now, we actually have a very vocal group of Georgia State listeners to the Solid Verbal.
Hell yeah.
So shout out to you guys who have been fighting the good fight for a while.
I'm on your side.
Yeah, and I am too. I'm just going to go Western Kentucky here.
Okay.
Got to follow
What's the
my
spread
heart.
again?
5.5 in favor of Georgia State.
Yeah, let's ride that.
Let's go to the Las Vegas Bowl, a game of particular interest. Sam Boyd Stadium out there in Vegas, December 18th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. We've got your Oregon Ducks at 7-5. They are a 7.5 point favorite over the Boise State Broncos. What is the gift situation here, Dan?
There is a gift suite. Unclear what's in there. An Oakley backpack and tag. That's pretty good.
What's a
There's
tag?
hat.
What is that?
I just assume some sort of like very solid identification card attached to the backpack.
Oakley backpack and tag. Okay. I don't know if that's
I
a
can
selling
Google
point
Oakley
that
tag.
I don't know if I'd want to label that here, but the tag.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like a dog tag. It looks like attached to the backpack.
Okay.
So,
What else?
if that excites you, great. Rock'em socks, which I just Googled. They
Okay,
appear to
pause. What is this?
Rock'em socks are, I was really hoping they were socks with speakers in them.
Right.
Bluetooth speaker socks. They are not. They're just socks with various prints of sports teams and whatever pop culture things. So Rock'em socks. So I assume they're like, I don't know if they're Las Vegas Bowl themed or Oregon Ducks and Boise State Bronco themed socks.
Oh, okay,
But,
I'm looking at these right now.
yeah.
These are loud socks, Dan.
I'm looking them up. So they are befitting of the name.
They're very. My God, yeah.
They really rock.
They do. There's a lot of rock in here. I do like the Miami turnover chain socks.
These Oregon socks are dope. I might order these actually.
I just don't know when I'd wear them.
You don't know when you'd wear what?
Any of these.
Why? Wear them any day to work. Who cares?
If I showed up wearing a turnover chain sock, Dan, do you think that would advance my career?
You think the CIA is going to care? The CIA won't care.
All right.
These are good looking socks. So is there Notre Dame socks? Notre Dame is not a partner. It doesn't look like.
That's about right.
The Penn State socks.
The Nittany
Here's
Lion?
what you have.
Yeah.
You've got you've got a Nittany Lion. You've got just the logo everywhere. You've got like a weird whiteout, I guess, themed sock. That's pretty cool.
They are
I like
pretty
that.
cool. All right.
Yes. So the Rock'em socks and a beanie.
The beanie, okay. Boise was very solid this season. They won the Mountain West. Defensively, they were very good against the run. I trust in Justin Herbert, though, more than anything else on the field. And that's truly a weakness for Boise defense this year against the pass. That, I think, is what Mario Cristobal is going to go after. And I think Oregon feels pretty good about the fact that they'll be retaining him as the coach. A lot of players on that team, I would think, would want to close out strong to try and state their case for the next season. Sometimes when you got a new coach coming in, guys tend to take the bowl game off. I don't think that will be the case now with Cristobal being retained as the head guy. So give me Oregon here. I won't go as heavy on Oregon as I would typically go in a game like this just because of the coaching change, but I still feel pretty confident. 27 points for me.
All right. So, yes, you're totally right. Boise, very solid. After that real gross Virginia loss, they finished the season winning 8 of 9, all pretty comfortably, other than the shootout against Colorado State, who they themselves have a pretty awesome offense. I think we'll get to it in a minute. They held 6 of those 7 teams that they beat after Virginia under 20. So defensively very solid, especially versus the run. Really good up front. They held Fresno State under 20 in the Mountain West Championship game. They're very good at limiting big plays, and Oregon is a big play offense, a big play team. You can throw on them, as you mentioned, but not downfield a ton. You can sort of keep throwing it through the air because that's what throwing is, but you can keep the ball moving through the air. Boise's a good team. They're just a flat-out good team. I'll be curious to see. I think it's Alexander Madison. He's been beat up, and he got beat up against Fresno State. So he had a good year at running back. We'll see if he's healthy enough to play against Oregon. Brett Rippon sort of reclaimed that job after losing some time to Montel Cozart. So, yeah. Oh, and Cedric Wilson, very good receiver for Boise. Oregon, of course, when Justin Herbert is healthy, very much looked like a top 2025 team as they closed out the season in very strong ways. So I think Oregon's going to be excited for this game, excited to start the Mario Cristobal era. But it is, I think you're right, it's always pretty dicey with he's not an interim coach anymore.
Never know.
But yes, this is the beginning of a new era without having time to really figure out who you are. And so now Willie Taggart gone. I think Marcus Arroyo, who was the quarterback's coach, has been promoted to offensive coordinator. So I don't know who will be calling plays in this game because Willie Taggart was the primary play caller for Oregon during the season. So I think there's an adjustment period. I'm actually going to go with Boise here. I think Boise
to win outright.
Wow. I think Boise is a little more structurally sound right now. I don't love Brett Rippon against this pass defense, but yeah, I think so. I think there's too much transition in Eugene right now. I think Oregon's be very good next year, but I'm going to go Boise here just because things appear to be, and I'm just terrified of Oregon in the Vegas Bowl. Bad history.
Okay. Interesting. We disagree here then. I thought for sure you'd be on my side, but fair enough. Let's go to the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl, Dan.
Yes.
They play this in Dream Style Stadium in Albuquerque. What is Dream Style Stadium exactly?
Dream Style Stadium. Is that one word, Dream Style?
All one word, Dream Style.
Okay.
This makes for great content when we're doing research in the middle of a recording, but...
So Dream Style's remodeling, windows and home improvement.
Okay.
Phoenix, Albuquerque, you can get some stucco. It's all happening at Dream Style. Free advertising.
Okay. Gildan, New Mexico Bowl, December 18th, 4:30 on ESPN. Colorado State at 7-5. They're a 5.5 point favorite over the Marshall Thundering Herd. Also at 7-5. Dan, what's our gift situation here?
We have a gift suite, so who's to say? But I guess if it's in New Mexico, maybe some green chili burgers. I don't know.
Okay.
Who's to say? Oakley sunglasses, which I think is very solid. Oakley 5-speed backpack.
Okay.
I don't know exactly.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a bicycle situation. I don't know.
Dan, I looked this up.
Okay.
I read to you from the Amazon review posted by a gentleman named Jeff Nichols, titled, "It's a bag, baby." This bag, what can I say about this bag? Well, it's functional, but I'm not 100% in love with it. It's very thin and light, so it doesn't feel very rugged. However, I'm not taking it in any foxholes, so that should be okay. I wish it had more storage pockets inside the larger compartments. I also wish it had a key tether, like many bags in this class. That said, I do get compliments when using it.
Okay.
There you go. 5-speed, one of which is a compliment. Thank you, Jeff.
That's for you, Thundering Herd and Ram players. Lit tumbler, so some sort of, for your beverages.
Question.
Yeah.
Is it a tumbler that's lit or a lit brand tumbler?
It looks like lit brand tumbler, capital L, lowercase I, capital T. I don't understand the significance of that unless it's just a logo, but they look like solidly built containers.
It looks like it may have the Louisiana Tech logo on it.
It does. It is very reminiscent of that. So,
okay.
Yeah, stay hydrated with this thing.
Okay.
Lit tumbler, beanie, Gildan stadium blanket, because you know what? It does get cold.
Yeah, it does.
So give that to your relatives. There's a cap and there's a fidget spinner. I assume a Gildan, New Mexico Bowl fidget spinner.
Have you tried the fidget spinner thing yet?
I have. I don't own one, but I've played with one.
A Solid Wife got one at a conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I must say, it is weirdly satisfying to play with the fidget spinner.
I imagine so, yeah.
Weirdly
Helps you
satisfying.
Focus.
Okay. Well, we've got a game here that I'm not very confident in, to be 100% truthful. I've only got 11 confidence points on this. And perhaps it does buck my formula a bit, but I really was uncomfortable breaking hard in one direction or another, because this is a strange matchup. According to Bill Connolly's numbers, his S&P Plus team metrics, Colorado State has the 14th most efficient offense in the country. The issue for them is their 97th ranked defense in terms of efficiency.
Sure.
If you flip it on the other side, but the same measure Marshall is 105 on offense and 22nd on defense. So we've really got strength against strength here. I'm going to go for Marshall and the Thundering Herd.
Wow.
Just because over the course of the season, to me, it looks like they've played better teams. And they've hung with just about everybody. They haven't always won, as evidenced by their 7-5 record. But this is not a team that gets blown out by anyone, and they clearly have the better defense on the field. So give me the Thundering Herd here. A long ways away from home in Albuquerque, but let's go Thundering Herd.
Fair enough. So, you know what I love, Ty? I try to mention this at times during the season. Maybe not so much this year. I love altitude. Albuquerque, 5,000 feet in the air. About a mile high, right? Colorado State, Fort Collins, 5,000 and change up there.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good altitude game here. I don't know how high Marshall is, but there's something about Colorado State, favored by 5.5. So the over-under is about 60. So they're seeing like a 32-27 type game. I think the best thing in this game is Colorado State and maybe just how complete their offense is. I like the fact that Nick Stevens is returning. You know, the coaching situation seems to be pretty consistent. They've got a Broyles, I believe it was not Broyles, excuse me, the receiver one, the Blitnikoff Award finalist, and Michael Gallup. I like this Colorado State team. I know their defense can be trash at times, but I think the best thing in this game is the combination of altitude and offense, alt defense. So give me the Rams, give me them by about a touchdown, and I think a healthy degree of confidence, high 20s.
Dan, I just discovered that the altitude of Atlanta is 1,050 feet.
Okay.
Where I'm going with this is how it might affect our ping pong clash at the live show.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
The altitude of Allentown is a robust 338 feet above sea level.
What's Brooklyn?
33, Dan. So we're going to have to deal with at least, at a minimum, 700 extra feet. How might that affect the ball flight?
Ooh, wow. I'm going to take this into my calculations. Huntington, West Virginia, 564 feet above sea level.
All right, so they're dealing with at least 4,500 additional feet.
Some changes, Ty. They're going to be winded.
Let's go to the final game on December 18th, the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl. They play this one in the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. It's at 8 p.m. on ESPN on December the 18th. We've got the Red Wolves of Arkansas State against is it still the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee?
I believe so.
7-4 against 6-6. Arkansas State is a 4-point favorite. Dan, gift situation, please.
The gift situation for the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl. Gift suite, okie doke. Fossil watch, beanie, Ogio.
Ogio coming back in heavy, yeah.
Our old pals Ogio. Big game autograph football.
What does that mean?
I don't know who's signed it. I assume Big Game is the brand, but there is an autograph football. Probably autographed by the head of Raycom Media.
It's a guy named Raycom who's autographed the football.
Invaluable.
So by the transitive property, Middle Tennessee beat Clemson, Dan.
Because they did beat Syracuse early. They
beat Syracuse early on in the year, I think week 2. And Syracuse went on to beat Clemson. I trust in the Justice Department, though, Dan.
Hell yeah.
And by that,
a lot of people say.
By that, I mean Justice Hansen. He's the 6'4", 218-pound junior quarterback for the Arkansas State Red Wolves. He had 34 touchdown passes this year. I thought about going with Mitsu here, but the deeper I looked into it, I'm a Red Wolfer all the way through. Give me Arkansas State. Give me the Justice Department and Justice Hansen to the tune of 38 confidence points here. I like Arkansas State.
Yeah, Arkansas State was an S&P Plus top 25 team. They were pretty decent at a lot of things. Justice Hansen, of course, the big dual threat transfer from Oklahoma. A little bit sloppy at times with the ball, but put up so much in the way of offense. The defense for the Red Wolves is pretty solid. I think despite Middle Tennessee's pretty decent defense, particularly versus the run, and the fact that Mitsu, are we still supposed to call them Mitsu? I don't even know. You know what their bright spot? Had a first name, Ty. What was his name? His name is Ty. Ty Lee, right. Pretty good receiver from Middle Tennessee, despite a disappointing offense. So that's a nice little shine there. But yeah, I'm going to go Arkansas State as well here. Too solid all around.
Fair enough. Let's move on to December 19th at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Florida Atlantic, coached by one Lane Kiffin. They won their conference. They went 10-3. They're a 22.5-point favorite over the Zips of Akron, who come down to Boca with a mark of 7-6. Dan, this is called the Cherubundi Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl, and they play it at Florida Atlantic's home football stadium in Boca. So clearly they've got home field advantage, but I must ask you, what the hell is the Cherubundi Tart Cherry sponsorship of this bowl? What is that exactly?
So they are sort of, it appears, spreading the health benefits of tart cherries. They sell tart cherries and tart cherry juices and stuff like that. So they're
like the cherry equivalent of Haas avocados.
Yes, they I think they're pushing the health stuff even more. Avocados, it's much more like, this is delicious, spread it on, tacos and toast and whatever. This is much more like, tart cherry juice helps you with faster muscle recovery, sleeping issues, and stamina issues.
And gout.
Is that true? Gout as well?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Well, there's your gout report from Ty Hildenbrandt for the week. So there's that. I can't imagine this bowl cost a ton to sponsor because Cherubundi does not seem like a household name. But if you are interested and have, again, stamina, gout, sleeping, or muscle recovery issues, now there is a solution, allegedly, and that is the Cherubundi Tart Cherry Juice. So Akron, Florida Atlantic, helping with you, Ty, helping with you. Gift-wise, there is an online gift suite and then, quote, an assortment of bowl-branded items.
Which basically means all the cherries you can eat.
Yes. Which is fine. Do you like tart cherries? Do you like cherry pie?
I do.
Okay.
I'm a cherry fan.
I'll bet you can get a good slice of tart cherry pie at this game. I would hope so.
The only problem with cherry-flavored anything is that it turns your mouth a deep shade of red.
It does. It does. Luckily, we're married, Ty.
That's right, but you can't go into a professional setting after eating like a cherry snow cone.
Have you found yourself in many post-snow cone professional situations?
All the time.
I haven't had a snow cone in a long time, Ty.
Summers get humid here in eastern Pennsylvania. You know this.
That's true. Got to do what you can. Akron, Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, this is a home game for Lane. The S&P Plus actually has them as number 12 in the country.
They do.
Talk about a quick turnaround for Lane Kiffin. I gotta go hard. FAU here. They're my top team on the board. 41 confidence points. I'm unloading the clip here, going all in on the Owls of Florida Atlantic. Give me FAU.
So the important thing to remember is this is the only college game on the 19th, right?
Correct.
This is the only game, and that's middle of the week. I want to say that's a Tuesday night.
Okay.
So that's where America's college football eyeballs will be. And FAU offensively led on the ground. Devin Singletary was wonderful. They were one of the best rushing teams in the country. They were an all right passing team. They generated some bigger plays. The defense wasn't fantastic, but Akron had like a pretty interesting year. They were shut out by Penn State, correct?
Correct.
They exclusively lost to pretty good teams, like top 50 teams. They played for the MAC championship. The defense is not good at all, which worries me about the matchup against the Owls' rushing attack. They were okay preventing big plays, but they, again, awful against the run, awful against the pass. The thing that is the saving grace is the prevention of big plays, and they force a ton of turnovers. Their turnover margin was very good, as you know, even though there's a luck quotient to that. The fact that, though, it is that only game, the fact that people will watch this because Lane Kiffin is a name, his offensive coordinator, Kendall Briles, is a known person, I think they're going to want to score 60 points. I think they want to win this game 60-15 just to sort of drum up interest. So I think FAU wins big. Yeah, it's pushing 40 for me, confidence points-wise.
And then finally, the DXL Frisco Bowl. They play this one at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. What is DXL? Have we looked this up yet? It sounds like it could be a knockoff of the XFL.
DXL is a big and tall men's clothing company. That's a great bowl sponsorship company.
Big and tall casual male.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
DXL Frisco Bowl. It's in Texas. These clothes, again, not a sponsor. This is just my opinion, not necessarily the opinion of the show. They look pretty sharp.
This is a fantastic sponsorship for a bowl game.
All of the models on this page look like James Corden. That's cool. I'm sure he would find DXL to be very comfortable and stylish.
DXL, quietly a very good sponsor for a bowl game.
Yeah.
With a lot of big and tall casual men. Mm-hmm. They get a gift suite.
They get a gift suite. This game is played in the stadium where the FCS championship is, I believe.
Toyota Stadium, that's correct.
Yeah.
Frisco, Texas. I am going to go Louisiana Tech here. It's a game on the 20th of December, on ESPN between SMU, who just lost their coach. They're a 5-point favorite against Louisiana Tech. I've only got 12 confidence points on this one, Daniel, because I'm not super confident in it.
Right.
But the fact that SMU just lost Chad Morris to Arkansas is something that I definitely took into account here. So even though the numbers might favor SMU, it might favor SMU actually a little bit more than the point spread, I am going to go Louisiana Tech outright.
Yeah, SMU did not finish the season in a strong fashion. That's when they had the best teams on their schedule pretty much with UCF, Navy, Memphis, and Tulane. They win Tulane. They win the Tulane game, to finish out the year. But no, not a good end of the game. They give up 31, 43, and 66. I don't love Louisiana Tech after a really fun season in 2016. They had the good win over UTSA to finish. They run the ball well. There are a couple of good names on this team, by the way. Boston Scott runs the ball for Louisiana Tech, and out wide, Teddy Veal.
Teddy Veal.
Yes, a definite good receiver. I don't like their defense all that much. I'm going to go with SMU here. It's a much more of a home game situation for the Mustangs. I think they're going to be playing with some emotion for Jeff Traylor, who at least a chunk of this team hopes gets promoted to the head coaching job. 2,000-yard receivers and Trey Quinn and Cortland Sutton. So I feel good about SMU. I think they can have some success over the top. I love Cortland Sutton. Could be a first-round pick.
He's really good, yeah.
He's big, he's fast, he's an extremely fun receiver. So I'm going to go with SMU here. I think they ride the local flavor.
I do like that pick. It makes a lot of sense, but I'm going to stick to my formula here, and I'm going to go against the team that is changing coaches a bit.
Fair? Okay.
Perhaps a bit of a state of disarray for SMU, but Louisiana Tech for me, SMU for you. We disagree on the final bowl game.
We disagree.
Of our first bowl preview. So here's the way that this is going to work now. Because of what's coming up now in the coming days and weeks, we've got a bunch more bowl games to get through, 33 of them to be exact. We're going to be doing those in waves. So our next recording will be on next Wednesday, or I guess this coming Wednesday will be our next show. And then from that point forward, it'll be every Wednesday through the end of the year. We'll, of course, have a preview of the playoffs. We'll, of course, have a preview of the national championship game and our normal review of the national championship game the day after. But the schedule will shift a little bit here as you and I both try to catch our breath and do the necessary research to cover all these bowl games.
And I would add, we can promise that these shows will be pretty meaty.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to be submitting 33-minute shows to the universe.
No. We don't do anything like that here.
We will be previewing a bunch of games, still reviewing news. I think we'll try to get some cues to situations in the mix. So these will be meaty shows that hopefully will be able to stretch you throughout your holiday travels.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We will continue producing fine brands of content here on The Verbal. We'd encourage you all, again, as we did at the top of the show, if you have any inclination about coming to Atlanta, you don't know you'll be there, but you might be there, or just anything at all, there will be room for you. We're doing our best to try and allot those tickets accordingly, but we do need to hear from you. So give us a holler, solidverbal@gmail.com. You can also tweet us. You can also send us a message on Facebook. We'd love to hear more about your plans for the national championship, but again, tickets have gone pretty quickly. We want to try and get everyone in the door who wants to come on out. And we are shameless in the fact that if you'd like to donate anything to the cause, the
beer,
live show.
Snacks. I don't think hard alcohol is going to be a thing.
No.
What, afterwards, who's to say? We're going to have a bar situation. But yeah, if local brewery, local foods, whatever you got, we will happily shout out and talk about how delicious it is on the show. No shame, Ty.
No shame at all. Give us a holler. Let us know what you got for us. Also, the shirt thing we're working on. And finally, make sure you get in the bowl pool. Participate in the fun here. By the time you and I get through all of these games, I think most people will have their bowl situation in pretty good working order. Like they'll have made the picks and allotted the proper confidence points for those picks, but we can still talk through them in waves as we typically do here on the show.
Correct.
Cool. Well, this was fun going through 8 bowl games with you. We've got many more to discuss on Wednesday.
What are the ones that we're going to discuss on Wednesday? Do you have them in front of you? Can we preview the preview?
We can. So on Wednesday, we've got the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl.
I think it's Gasparilla.
Oh, God, that double L.
I like going with that pronunciation, though.
Bahamas Bowl, Famous Idaho Potato Bowl, the Birmingham Bowl, Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, Dollar General, Hawaii, Zaxby's Heart of Dallas, Quick Lane, Cactus, Walk-On's Independence Bowl, and the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. So we've got a healthy plate of games before you on our next broadcast.
Okay, so we're saving the Foster Farms and the outdoor, whatever the Texas Bowl is.
Yes.
For the following show. Okay,
correct.
Fair. I will try to, if I can go through his agent, if I can go through his PR people, because I'm going to be leaving. We'll still be doing the shows because I'm going to LA, but I'll be leaving New York. I will try to bank a sit-down tie with the Bloomin' Onion himself.
Okay. Great.
Ahead of the Outback Bowl, just to see where his head is. Ryan Nanny, who will be performing during the Outback Bowl festivities as the Bloomin' Onion. So that will be an exclusive look ahead of the Outback Bowl.
For that guy over there, my good friend Dan Rubenstein, for myself, Ty Hildebrand, thanks for tuning in to this latest edition, our first bowl preview of bowl season 2017-2018. We will talk to you all again on Wednesday. In the meantime, stay solid.
Peace.